All right, before I start this video at all, I just want to say too, is going back and looking at the whole month of February, looking back at my videos, I've noticed how much more comfortable I literally got with being in my own skin. Even like making these videos, like talking to the camera, I'm basically talking to myself. And when you talk to yourself, you speak it out and it gives you more clarity because you're saying it more out loud. So I've gotten so much more confident in my speaking and my thoughts and who I am becoming. I got so much more comfortable with myself. And I said it before in other videos, I never really was comfortable with speaking to like the camera, I guess you could say. And even starting this whole YouTube channel, it was kind of a little uncomfortable at first, but that's what I'm saying. The more and more you do it, you literally just get comfortable. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm super tired. It's super late. I just finished recording everything. I'm about to do an edit. The message I'm trying to give before I even start the video is most people fail because they don't know what they want. They fail because they let temporary feelings make permanent decisions. Think about it. You want to post something, create something, try something, but the people around you laugh, call it cringe, and make you second guess yourself. So you stop. Not because you truly wanted to, but because in that moment, discomfort felt louder than your intentions. But fast forward 10 years, the embarrassment is gone, the opinions are gone, the moment is gone. And now the only thing left is the question, why didn't I just do it? Your future regrets usually aren't about the things you tried. They're about the things you silenced because of how you felt for 5 minutes or because of people who weren't living your life. Temporary emotions shouldn't have authority over your long-term goals. The vision of you in the future is built by the decisions you make when it feels uncomfortable now. So ask yourself, are you making choices based on who you want to become or based on how safe you want to feel today? That's basically my message, but enough yapping because I just stay yapping. Straight to the video now. What is good? We are on the last day of the month. Like I said, this is a 1 month special, 1 month summary, whatever you want to call it. What I plan to do for this video specifically is the first thing I'm going to do is write down what this month felt like to me in words. And you're going to see a little bit later what I mean by that. But I like to use words as a reflection of the whole month. What really spoke to me this whole month? What is the theme of this month that's helping me become a better person or the person I want to become? So I kind of like to highlight that, or I like to write it down and then put it on my wall. The second thing I'm going to write down is all the patterns I recognized throughout this month that actually helped me and pushed me even more to be more consistent every single day or to keep the ball rolling. And then the last thing is just going to be writing down the small habits or the small little things I'm going to start doing for next month to help me in my progress and just to be more consistent and keep the ball rolling through each day. Yeah, just those three things. But yeah, let's get straight to it.
What is good? So yeah, I'm gonna label this month as self-awareness. I feel like that was the theme for this month. I was very observant of my little actions and my little patterns, I guess you could say, right? I feel like for so long, for nearly a year, I would say, I was kind of just in a phase of trial and error. I was trying out different routines, trying out different stuff that fit my personal goals, stuff that I could be consistent with, stuff I actually enjoy doing versus what I didn't enjoy doing. And I would say I'll break this down to three stages, right? I would say the first stage is that trial and error stage. You're trying stuff, seeing what works, what doesn't for you. And then the second stage I would say is the one I'm in now, where it's kind of just you're finding those little cues, those little patterns that actually make the day a blue day, or like a good day, whatever. So like what I'm trying to say is I started catching little stuff within the day. Like, okay, like now I know what to do in the day, but how can I keep that ball rolling throughout the day? You know what I mean? Like I have the routine set. Now, what are the small cues to keep the routine going? So I could be as consistent as possible. You know what I mean? Like that's that second stage, like awareness, right? And then I'm pretty sure the third stage it'll be far in the future when I start calibrating everything, getting it so good that at that point, literally every day is a blue day. Because that's the goal. That's the goal. You want to have pretty much every day as productive as possible. And once you start getting a blue day every single day, that's how you start knowing you could scale up now. Okay, my goals, let's say for example, I have boxing goals, right? Before I couldn't do them because it was just too much on my plate. I had too much. I couldn't handle it all, right? So I had to remove it. Now, since I know I made a system or a routine that works consistently every single day and I've been consistently getting blue days, okay, that means the routine I'm doing is a no-brainer. I'm doing it subconsciously. I don't have to think much about it. I can start adding more stuff to my plate. That's how you know you could start scaling is the best term I could say. Scaling up and just adding more and then little by little Imagine 10 years from now, like if you just do that every single day, 10 years you would literally be a jack of all trades. You'll literally be your 99 overall, I guess you could say, like your full potential at that point. And even then, you always want to, there's got to be something you always want to prove. There's definitely more to life than just the small little goals you set now. I think as you start achieving more and more, you're gonna want more and more, which is not bad. But that's basically why I kind of wrote down this whole paper. But yeah, on to the second stage. Here we are. This I wrote down all like the mini patterns I recognized throughout this whole month that either helped me push the ball or basically pushed me away from the ball or killed the ball's momentum. And I really like using the ball analogy because it really does make sense. Like as you're pushing a ball more and more and more, for example, like a heavy stone ball, right? At first it's going to be hard, but as you keep pushing and just don't stop, you're going to gain that momentum to the point where it's just moving for you. You don't even have to really move it no more. Same thing with these routines. You don't want to make routines where you're constantly stressing and thinking. You just want to be able to just wake up, do them, and boom, like you're just doing them. And then at some point, you're just gonna be the person you always want to become, right? But yeah, I'm gonna talk a little bit about some of the little cues that I recognize that actually really, really did help me, right? And I would say the first major one was sleep. Every time I slept late, and because I always like to get my day started early, if I slept late, I wake up late, or I just wake up without enough sleep, and I could do it. I could, but throughout the day, I would take mini naps, and it would just kill my, like I said, momentum and wasting time on mini naps. When I know if I would have gotten 8 hours of sleep, I would be able to be up the whole day up until I gotta go back to sleep, and then boom, the cycle restarts. And you know what I mean? Like I save so much more time, not like going to sleep instead of trying to stay up. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, going to sleep early, eating at the right times was definitely a big one. It's a very small one, but when I ate, let's say at 10 p.m. and I go to sleep at 10:30, first off, I would have more trouble going to sleep, and then when I would wake up, I noticed my stomach, I had aches every time, and I was like, huh, funny. And then when I actually ate before 7 p.m., at like yeah, basically 3 hours before I would originally plan to go to bed, I felt fine. I fell asleep faster, and I noticed also that like my body wouldn't store the extra foods that I kept because I just felt leaner when I didn't eat. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that definitely helped. Bible reading. This definitely, I would say, gets me more in touch with my identity side. It helps me like what is my thoughts? You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of my thoughts come from and beliefs obviously come from the Bible because reading it helps me understand life in general in a different perspective, and it helps. Like I never really had that different perspective of life before, you know what I mean? I just thought life was life. Like that's it. But there's actually so much more to it that I never realized. There's many hidden lessons and stuff like that. So I really, every time I read, I really did enjoy, and it helped me see another perspective of life, and just makes me become more, I guess you say, meek in a way. But yeah, also, now the next one was definitely recording myself. This whole YouTube channel in general. Like I said, this is definitely the most I've ever documented on myself. I would definitely take a lot of notes and stuff like that, but I wasn't as consistent. YouTube was probably the only thing I was very consistent in, and it helped me see myself, like I said, in a different view, in a different angle, like a third person angle. You know what I mean? Like I got to record myself, speak my thoughts, and then look back at it and be like, interesting. Like why am I saying this? You know what I mean? Like you ask yourself questions. You start to really try to figure yourself out at that point, because I feel like you obviously know yourself the best, but do you really know yourself like truly, truly like that? Like start asking yourself deeper questions. You know what I mean? But yeah, the next thing is definitely the mobility. When I would do my mobility early in the morning, my body felt open, more free, and I didn't feel as crammed up and like really tired or just like weak throughout the day. Like when I got mobility out of the way, I felt so good and I had so much energy for the rest of the day. And then journaling trades, I do day trading, so this is like kind of more so for just day traders. But yeah, every time I just journaled my trade, I just know what I'm looking for in the market the next day, which makes everything so much easier and just gives me more confidence. You know what I mean? I feel like that one's a no-brainer. But yeah, then okay, moving on to the momentum killers. What I realize is when I sit down for so long, I get really tired. And it sounds dumb, but for some of the activities or tasks that I have to get done throughout the day, I need to be up. I can't just be relaxed, tired doing them. Like I need some type of brain power, some type of physical strength to do some of the tasks, right? And when I kind of relax myself for too long, or even laying down too, like laying down is so dangerous, especially in my room, because I do a lot of my work in my room, and having the bed right behind me makes it really hard to just not be able to, oh, I'm tired. Let me just go lay down. You know what I mean? Like that is basically a trap in itself. But but no, yeah. But and I had ChatGPT help me with this one, right? Whenever I feel like that, like I'm sitting down, but I know I need to be up, it told me to trick my brain to basically saying stand up, walk around for 2 minutes, and then do like 20 squats, right? Or even this, when I feel like chasing some type of small little dopamine, like for example, going on your phone. My friend taught me a little trick where basically instead of doing that, you literally look at a wall for let's say 5 minutes, right? Just stare at it. And at that point, anything is better than staring at that wall, right? When you don't have nothing to do but just stare at a wall, you are literally bored. You literally kill all your dopamine. So now anything is better than just staring at that wall, right? So I feel like that's also like a mini little mental trick you could do to trick your brain and body. um yeah, and also like yeah, like eating is another momentum killer. Basically, right before I go to bed, if I eat, I said this earlier, yeah, like the morning it just hurts my stomach and I feel myself gaining that extra fat weight. Um, but yeah, and then this is definitely a good one is when I don't actively work on my mind, I start to lose a piece of my mental thoughts and beliefs, right? Good analogy, one of my friends gave me this is he said like you charge your phone every day, you should be charging your beliefs every day, right? If you don't charge your phone for a day, right, and you use it for a whole day, the next day it's gone. That it's dead, you can't use it no more, right? Same thing with your mental thoughts. If you don't constantly tell yourself either positive thoughts, like for example the law of attraction, right? If you're not constantly telling yourself, if you're not constantly working your brain into certain beliefs that you believe, then you start to lose grip of that. You start to lose grip of your true identity, I guess you could say, and those beliefs because you're not paying attention to it. You know what I mean? So that is definitely another one. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I know I'm a big yapper, but listen, I'm gonna reduce my yapping little by little as I get more better at speaking my thoughts and speaking more clearly. But yeah, on to the last phase.
Don't worry, the yapping is almost done. The last final step is basically how I plan on going into March now. What am I gonna do going into March? One of the first things I'm gonna do is I have a journal here or notebook. I'm gonna write in here daily, and the way I'm planning on structuring it is like this. So we know about my board, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write out everything the same way I have it written down into my notebook, and then I'm just gonna put check marks on what I did, and then I'm gonna put a side note on each page saying I by the way, so 5 hours I stopped at live market. After live markets I took a nap, whatever, so then I could start nitpicking, kind of seeing, like, trying to recognize patterns, I guess, even better, because what I have now is decent, but it's more broad because I'm just learning about it now. So yeah, that's one of the things. The next thing is for the YouTube channel. What I'm gonna do is I have another notebook for ideas and stuff like that, and if you guys want to give me ideas, just write it down in the comments. But yeah, but I want to actually start scaling because I know I could be consistent with it, as you can see clearly, but I think I want to scale it to actual, like, good YouTube videos, actually edited, actually taken time with, so I could look at it and be proud of it. Kind of like this video. Like, even though I know this video is probably shit, the quality's bad, the editing's gonna be like so. I mean, little by little, you're like, this is more for my future self. You know what I mean? And like to see my progress go along, because I know from a year from now, I'll be looking back at these videos and be like, I'm so glad I started. I'm so glad I did all these practice reps now, so that I know how I want to go about doing everything. Like, these are the little bricks they talk about, like brick by brick. This video in itself and like the past videos are literally brick by brick because I have bigger ideas in my head that I want to do and create, but right now I don't have like that experience or skill set yet. But this is like little by little because now I'm practicing and getting better at talking and more clear. And I'm pretty sure throughout like the whole month you could see that too. Like at the like but yeah, that's pretty much the end. I for real appreciate you watching the whole way through. If you skipped through, whatever, I don't really care to be honest. Cause my goal for this channel in general is not to blow up. I'm trying to build like transparency in a community. That's what I really want. Like, just a community of like people that actually want to self grow or just self improve, self development, whatever you want to call it. But it's cool to go back and learn from your mistakes. This is kind of what this is. I'm gonna go back, watch these videos, and learn from each mistake, which I did already, and now I can recognize patterns that are killing my momentum or helping it. All right, well that's enough yapping. I'm tired. It's mad late. I spent too much time recording this, but yeah. So if you made it to the end, I for real appreciate you. And yeah, I'm not gonna be posting as consistently as I was this month because, like I said, I'm switching up the whole style now. But it is gonna be slightly better content, just 1% better. You know what I mean? That's what we're aiming for. But regardless, I appreciate you. And I hope you're on the grind with me.